So now that we've completed introductions, let's just take a couple minutes to make some ground rules. Want to write it? Now don't start feeling like you're in first grade. I run a lot of meetings and it's really helpful for both the adults and the children to have some rules to help us keep on track and, have the meetings be safe. Let me give you an example. Most teams agree that it's necessary to start the meetings on time and to end the meetings on time, about an hour or so. There's always going to be an exception to the rule for emergencies, but otherwise, we should respect each other enough to make it to the meetings on time. So how do we feel about this one? Do we want to include that?
Well, that's a good one, but with court and stuff, it's a little hard for me to make a commitment on that.
Well, if we can get here on time, it seems like everybody should be here on time. I mean, for the meetings, I got to get out of work. I can't be gone for long. An hour seems fine.
This also has to do with careful scheduling of the meeting times and the locations. If I were to make sure that the times weren't too tight for anyone and the locations were convenient, it would probably be a lot easier to commit, right?
Yeah, that makes sense, as long as there's a little slack for emergencies.
Okay. So everyone's good with that then?
As long as you don't make the schedule on my court days, I could probably do it.
Sounds good. So put there, be on time. Okay, another rule that I want to propose is that we reach consensus on decisions based as a team, and that we talk things through until we agree. That doesn't mean that everyone will be completely happy all the time, but just as long as the team supports the decision made. The other piece to that is that no one will make a really big decision that affects the kids and the family outside the team. That's the only way to keep everyone on the same page. So, we don't want any lone rangers out there. Do we all understand that? Is it okay? Is that clear? Okay, this is good. Let's talk about confidentiality. That's how to keep private information private, and rules for obtaining permission in advance before sharing private information with people outside the team.
In AA meetings, we have confidentiality, and that means that if someone shares something inside the meeting, no one talks about it outside. Not even with their boyfriend, their husband, their girlfriend, no one.
That's exactly right, Ralph. That's exactly right. I think we need to implement that agreement, and also about obtaining the permission before we share information. Is that okay with everyone?
Patty, are you following this? Do you understand what everyone's agreeing to, the rules for confidentiality?
Yes, I get it. My daughter was in therapy, so her therapist talked all this over with me when we started.
Okay, just checking.
Okay then, sounds good. Why don't we write that down? Important decisions discussed in the team first, and prior permission before sharing private information. All right, I want to have a rule where there's no blaming or shaming. Do you know what I'm talking about, Joaquin?
Yeah, no dogging the other person. We had that rule in detention.
Which is a rule that Joaquin has been following down there lately. I think he needs to go to a step down, a group home, before he comes home.
That's a good point, Robert. Let's put that in the parking lot, okay? That way we can come back to it when we finish with all the ground rules. Yes, no dogging, so that'll be my job to make sure that that doesn't happen. Well, at least at first. Is that okay, Debbie?
Yeah, that sounds good.
How about no yelling like adults?
That's a good one.
No yelling.